Howdy folks, good afternoon. Here's the second video today over at the North Jetty near Venice, Florida, which is actually to my left here. As you can see, we're just along the Gulf. Now, or I usually just call it the ocean, either way, doesn't matter. But as part of the video, I wanted to talk a little bit about the jetty itself, as well as a particular plant that I stumbled upon. So as I was walking by, I noticed that there were some peculiar flowers here that are sort of like a purplish white. And I came to realize that I was walking by something called a bay bean. Now, you may be wondering, what does that really entail? Well, the bay bean is a popular plant that actually grows along a beach dune, which makes sense, considering that we're right by the beach. Now, with that being said, oftentimes these beans, they'll appear in bundles right here. Now, your first question is, are these really edible? Well, when the beans are young, yes, you can eat them, even after cooking them. However, though, as they mature, they become toxic to human consumption. So, just keep that in mind, you guys. Now, let's find a good example. But yeah, the flower has quite of a unique shape. As I said, I think to me, it kind of looks like a sink, like a bathroom sink. And then here is the faucet. So yeah, it opens up, and that is usually where you'll find your stamens when they're a bit younger. They're typically yellow. But usually flowers try to be as attractive as they can, because that is what promotes pollinators to join the plant itself. Now, oftentimes when you look at the individual leaves, they usually come in bundles of 3, and they have a bit of a round shape as well. And you can grow this in your own garden if you so choose. But just keep in mind that these are very fast growing plants. They'll grow very quickly, just as long as they have the right conditions. And oftentimes they'll even act like a mat. As you can see right here, it's kind of blanketing over this sand right here. So just keep that in mind as well. Make sure that you have plenty of land to work with, or else it will really seem like it is taking over. But rest assured, these are native. Actually, while I'm here, here is a mature seed pod right here, or should I say a pea pod. So yeah, you want to avoid eating these, as they do become toxic. So this is what they look like once they're mature. Now, since they are producing those beans, that makes them considered to be a legume. And oftentimes, a great example of a legume that we remember are typically soybeans, for example, one of the most popular of cash crops. And oftentimes, legumes are very useful for acting as nitrogen fixers. Because what they typically do is, within their roots, they will extract the nitrogen coming from the atmosphere, and then they'll take it in for their own growth and to also provide nutrients into our soil as well. So nitrogen is really what allows our plants to grow and develop. If it weren't for nitrogen, we perhaps wouldn't have the richness of these plants right here that help provide us oxygen, shade, and even a bit of a home for our wildlife. Give me a second, you guys. I just want to provide you another quick perspective so that I can also save some time on this video. Here we go. Okay, so as I was also passing by, getting closer to the end of the jetty, I stumbled upon this plant as well. It is known as the Silver Leaf Croton. Now, it's also known as beach tea. So my guess is, with it being called beach tea, it can be used as a decoction in tea. Now, I was trying to read up a bit on this plant, and there doesn't really seem to be much information on it. But I can tell you this. It is worth noting that, as I was reading with other plants closely related with this one, that apparently it can actually be used to help treat a hangover that one might experience from the night before. So this, in a way, can help treat that condition, at least a little bit. But usually you have to do self-recovery. Now, they usually bear these little fruits here, which I honestly don't think are edible. But, you know, if something isn't edible, you can only eat it once, right? So I'll be sure to clarify that. But, yeah, they feel like acorns. Like, they're just really hard. Like, I'm even squeezing with my fingers as hard as I can. And, like, they are not breaking open. They call it Silver Leaf Croton because if you look at the leaves a bit closely, it kind of gives off like a silvery color. And it has a bit of a, like a sandpaper texture. And usually that's the case because it protects the plant a bit more from any salt spray that may come from the ocean. Because pretty much for any plant to really be out here in the dunes, they have to be very salt tolerant, because that's just part of it. But these are actually considered to be a spurge, which in other words describes a type of shrub. But oftentimes you'll find them a bit closer to the edge of a dune, because if I walk up just a tiny little bit, some friendly pigeons nearby. If I walk up just a tad, like maybe just a few yards, howdy. Yeah, if we walk up just a few yards, that's where we have a chance to see the beach. So it's pretty much like right at the edge. But, oh man, it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous day to be out here. That's all I gotta say. Bit of a change of scenery. But yeah, this jetty is basically a man-made structure which allows boats coming from the bay, will allow them to enter into the Gulf, or vice versa. Oftentimes, jetties are a bit of a controversy in terms of their effectiveness, because what it does is, you've noticed, this side really accumulates with sand because the longshore current runs from the north to the south, parallel to the coastline. But then, you go on the other side of the jetty, you'll see that the sand is a bit more minimal. And that's just the case because less sand has a chance to really make its way over there. But then it's like, you know, it's just a matter of what's easier, what's more convenient. But I still think, though, mangroves could be really effective too, especially when entering or exiting out of a bay. Because, I mean, rocks, they can help, but these had to be brought here. And oftentimes rocks break down over time due to water turbulence. So eventually, in the near future, it's guaranteed that they'll probably have to add new rocks at this spot. But yeah, the jetty is also a popular fishing destination, especially for sometimes tarpon or even snook. So oftentimes a lot of our fish that are out in the Gulf, they start their early lives in the bay, especially along mangroves and rookeries. That's how they start their early life. But yeah. It's alright, you guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. And today has also been an absolute pleasure as I had the chance to meet with Garrett Stewart, also known as Captain Planet, who leads the Eco-Preservation Project and my mentor. So check out my first video that I made today, you guys, because I also make a feature with him. So it was really cool to do, by the way. So, alright, you guys, enjoy your Wednesday, stay cool, and once again, journey on a journey is outwards. Take care, folks. See ya.